We take this opportunity to thank Ms. Alice Moraa for welcoming us to your office. We have a few questions from the diaspora. We have a few questions from Kenyans in the diaspora and Kenyans who are also living in Kenya. They really want to know who is Alice Moraa and what she's actually doing in Kisumu County, sitting in this beautiful big office. So before we really start asking you questions, can you do a brief introduction of yourself? Thank you.
I want to start off by thanking you very much for giving me this this opportunity to have a discussion with you about who I am, the docket I hold, and what is expected of me in this county. I should start off by, my name is Alice Moraa. I've been a resident of Kisumu sub-county for the last 13 years, and I am a business lady. I have been a business lady for the last 7 years. Before then, I used to work in Kisumu Water and Sewerage Company as the head administration and human resources, after which I moved to Kenya Power as a contractor for 4 years until this year when I joined Professor's campaign team. And our main aim at that point is to see him succeed. And God answered our prayers, he succeeded. And here I am today in this office as the CC Energy, Trade and Industry.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Moraa. Now, the people of Kisumu are really expecting a lot in industrialization, in investment. So after 5 years, what will the people of Kisumu actually remember you for?
Thank you. Maybe let me start by saying that as a business person, my motivation behind joining Professor's team for this position is because of the economic status of this county, which to me had basically gone down the drains in the former regime ever since we started the devolution. And as you are aware, the essence of devolution was basically to empower the Mashinani people and basically bring empower the people at the village level. And of course, this is political, social, economic empowerment. And the first 5 years of devolution, I think for me, it didn't work in Kisumu County. The economy went down to the drain. There was no money for us as business people. Our businesses were affected seriously. We could not break even. And money was just in a few hands. And that was my driving force to change the former government and bring in a government which was going to empower the people and of course implement devolution. And as you are aware, Professor was one of the architects of devolution, and I had very high hopes in him. And after succeeding, I believe that we are going to make devolution work in Kisumu County, and that we are going to elevate this county to the next level, bring it from where it has been and to a level which I believe if we left today, people will look back and say the devolution has worked, and we have also impacted positively the people of this county. The Kisumu hails from so many issues economically. We can say it has a lot of potential, unexploited potential economically, because it's rich in economically, but it has not been fully exploited. We're actually sitting on a gold mine, and we have not been able to utilize the gold mine. We are a county which has a lake, which is untapped. We are a county which has an airport, which is untapped. We are a county which has so many agricultural, has economic potential which is untapped, and that's one of the areas I believe we are going to tap into, and of course have a positive impact on the people of Kisumu. Now, if I come back to my docket, I've been given the docket of energy, industry, and of course trade. In terms of energy, we talk of in terms of green energy and climate change. And in terms of green energy, I think the percentage of connectivity in this county is very low, and that is one of the areas I'm actually embarking to make sure that we raise the percentage of people connected with green energy to acceptable levels. And I intend to do that by one, liaising with the Kenya Power to connect as many people in mashinani as possible. And two, I expect that we should provide a budget within the county to help do the connectivity, do solar lighting, and of course do lighting in the markets, so that it enables the 24-hour economy. So in terms of trade, I know we have a lot of untapped trade, and in this area, Kisumu County actually has one of the highest unemployed youth, at 60%. And of course, we cannot employ this youth in formal employment. We need to diversify in terms of trade. Look out and see how we can engage this youth, engage in businesses, which of course will uplift their economic lives. So in that regard, I intend to source for diversify the businesses, both small and medium, partner up with the institutions to assist our youth access loans, and of course engage the youth in meaningful activities which will create a difference in their lives. In terms of industry, Kisumu County, as I said, is a county with a lot of potential. For example, we have the resource of fish, but one wonders where the fish goes. Is there fish poaching in Kisumu? Because fish is basically exported from Thika and not Kisumu, which is the source. And when we look along those lines, is like, why can't we tap this fish and help our people locally? We do a fish industry, practice fish caging, and in so doing, one, we will have employed quite a number of youth in the industries. Two, we would have, through the exports, of course, with the exchange rates and everything, will improve the economy of this county. Kisumu County is an agricultural county. We have the industries, the sugar industries, which actually almost going under. We need to look at the industries and get to the root cause of the problems. And one of the causes, as which I'm currently dealing with, is cane poaching. And I intend to introduce a bill at the Assembly on zoning to deter these other industries from going to poach cane from our industries. Industry basically is Moroni and Chemilil. And if we introduce this bill, of course, each and every industry is going to have its own catchment area, and nobody will, no other industry will trespass into it. And if we revive the industries, the cane industry, of course, there's going to be employment of people. Of course, we are going to produce our own sugar and all those things, and the trickle-down effect. We recently flagged off the Moroni cooling plant, daily cooling plant. And what I keep on saying is, like, we need to look at the local potential and tap it. As you remember, we resisted Brookside, and we cannot resist if we don't think of the local production. So, and I think with ILRI on board, I believe that we are going to succeed in that plant, which is supposed to, the plant has a capacity of getting 10,000 liters of milk on a daily basis. And I think that will serve the whole of Kisumu County, because 10,000 liters of milk is a lot of milk, which of course will require that people throughout the county actually do daily farming. Now, in terms of other industries, this is a rich county. We can do, Moroni does very good mangoes and semi at the same time. We can think of doing juice processing plant. We can do tomatoes, and of course do a small plant for processing the sauces and all those. And brewery is going to be a game changer in this county, and I'm keen on it, that we make sure it succeeds, because we had a meeting last week with the KBL people, and the KBL will be requiring about 14,000 metric tons of sorghum on a daily basis. That translates that we need about 25,000 acres of land to grow sorghum. And what does that do for us? One, we are going to engage farmers in Kisumu. In fact, they may not be able to give enough. It means that we have to move out. But it means that we are going to utilize our local farmers. There's already markets. They are going to provide seed. They are going to do collection centers for the sorghum, and they are going to give agricultural extension officers. So what we are telling our people to prepare is like, let now people utilize their land, both youth and of course everybody, and do this viable project, which is actually going to be a game changer in this county, you ask me. There's going to be a distribution, there's going to be the retailing, and of course we're going to have expatriates coming on board. They'll use the local trucks, they'll use the local taxis, the hotels and all those. So the trickle-down effect is going to be felt. And I believe that that is only my docket. If the other dockets also do one or two things, we should be able to bring this county into we should actually be able to elevate this county into a level which is acceptable, and of course improve the lives of Kisumu residents.
Thank you very much. You've broadly spoken about your vision, your desire to ensure that people of Kisumu County actually move a step farther away from poverty, which is pretty good. KDR Television International reaches a wider area of Kenyans and other people who are non-Kenyans. So you as a representative, you can actually call you a representative of diaspora, because you are not a native of Kisumu, but Professor actually saw something so special in you and tapped you into this particular docket. What are you telling those people who are out there, especially in the diaspora? Do you really want to work with them? I mean, which ways and means do you want them to come and help you, or work collectively with them to ensure the people of Kisumu move a step farther away from poverty?
Thank you very much. I think my appointment was a surprise to so many people.
Yes.
Real big surprise to so many people, but it also boils down to Professor's vision as a person. He's a person, is somebody who believes in inclusivity all the time, and he's a person who recognizes that Kisumu County is a cosmopolitan county, and that he has to collectively put his people together and tap their potential. Now, so many stories have been said as to why I was appointed, but I believe is the role I've played in this county from the time I came to Kisumu. As I told you, I came to Kisumu as the head human resources and administration in Kisumu Water. And when I came on board, the company had just moved from the municipal council of Kisumu, and we started, and the managing director actually started that company from scratch. And by the time I was leaving Kisumu Water, it was a state-of-the-art company. So we had improved the water provision and distribution in Kisumu seriously. And during our tenure, cholera had actually, we'd done away with cholera in Kisumu. If you remember, some time back, people used to fear coming to Kisumu because of cholera outbreak. And that's something I pride myself in, that I contributed to the doing away of cholera in Kisumu by distributing potable water to the residents, and of course increasing coverage. By the time I left Kisumu Water, I think I left a legacy and moved on to Kenya Power. And my achievements also in Kenya Power are very tremendous. I'm not an engineer, but because I had the determination and will to learn the electrical works, I actually performed very well in Kenya Power, and in construction of both HT and LV, that's high voltage and low voltage lines in Kisumu. And most of the street lights you see in Kisumu were done by me. And we did a lot in Siaya, Homa Bay, and Migori, and Bungoma for that matter. And so, in as much as I'm not Luo, I believe I come from Nyanza region, so I should basically say that this is home. But it's a matter of tapping talent and potential, nurture it, and of course make use of it. So what I'm saying is, like, Kisumu is a county of potential, and all I'm urging my fellow diaspora people is to come and invest in Kisumu. There's a lot we can do together, and I think together we can move this county into a state-of-the-art county in this country and become a leading county in this country.
Thank you very much. Are you also trying, are you going to move forward and try to partner with the international community? Yes, we have the Kenyan diaspora, but we've got the international community. We are talking about the Americans, the British, the Canadians. Are you having a roadmap to ensure that they also come and invest in Kisumu?
Plans are underway to partner in that sector. First, I said that the fish industry, we actually supposed to visit China and India sometimes in February to get investors to come and do our fish industry. There's that roadmap on that side. And in Korea, there's an investor who is willing to come and do housing in Kisumu. And of course, China is also interested in doing hotels, green hotels in Kisumu. And so it's my wish and desire that we benchmark with what is outside this country, and of course bring the best technology, bring the best practices to Kisumu. And benchmarking will require that we traverse the world and try to woo investors to Kisumu. And as a follow-up to that, we are having an investor conference in March this next year, and we expect that participants are going to come from all over the world, and maybe from there we will have quite a number of people interested in Kisumu, and we'll start the road from there.
Thank you very much. My last question. You've talked about investors coming next year. I don't know whether the letters are out or you've told them. They don't really, the best thing is for them to know a little bit earlier, so that actually that can really happen. That's just that's just by the way. By my last question is about, you have talked about the fish industry. You want to build a a fish processing
plant
in
Seme.
Kisumu here. Oh, in Seme. That's beautiful. So this fish processing farm, have you already benchmarked and seen the potential people who can come and invest, or you are still open to other people who are really interested to come and invest?
Fish farming, as I said, is the Nyanza region is basically the potential producer of fish, and you know, lake fish is the best. Unlike our other counterparts in Thika and maybe Nairobi who do fish ponds, but fish from the lake is the sweetest. And there's still potential, in as much as we are keen on some investors in China. We are still open to other investors because the beach is long from here to Miuru Bay, and I think that there is enough of fish to have one or two industries in Kisumu. So we are not closed to only China, but we are open to other investors who can come on board. And of course, competition is healthy.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So this is not a by the way, but I also wanted actually to know exactly about the revenue collection in Kisumu County, because when you collect taxes and all that, that is when the county also can get some revenue to run some of its activities. So have you automated, is the system automated so that nobody can actually, nobody can be stealing from the county, like not paying taxes to the county?
Thank you very much. That's one of the ISO we have in Kisumu. If you ask me, it's an ISO because I've been a business person in Kisumu, and from that perspective, I believe and know that revenue is not well collected in Kisumu because of my encounters with revenue collectors. So one of the issues which I think we need to discuss at the cabinet is one, to actually map out the scope of my ministry in terms of trade and issuing of permits and licenses. I believe that the way it's being done currently is not the best, because it's the finance department which gives licenses and permits and collects revenue at the same time. You know, there's conflict of interest. Now my aspirations is like I want the two activities to be separated, that the permits and license remain in my docket, and what I have in mind is like I want us to have an inventory of all the businesses which exist in this county, such that at then one given time, you know, we have maybe 10,000 businesses in Kisumu, and these are we require 10,000 licenses and permits. Now my plan is like I want to profile and cluster that we have small businesses, medium and large businesses, and of course that will require that you also issue permits as per the clustering, such that maybe at the end of the year we can put a flat rate for the different classes, so that we know maybe beginning of the year if all these businesses pay their permits, we are likely to get this revenue, you know. And maybe if we give them maybe an allowance, they pay twice a year, we'll know that for the first 6 months we will expect this revenue, and then the close of the year we will expect this revenue. And that will give us, like, we'll do accountability tests and see, we issued out these permits, what is the revenue which has come on board? And that's the only way I believe we are going to control and manage the revenues from the businesses.
So speaking, that system is not automated?
That system is not automated, and revenue is collected by, and I believe that much of the revenue goes into people's pockets. It never reaches its destination.
That is an allegation.
It's an allegation,
yes,
but
yes.
You know, I'm talking from experience.
Okay.
I'm talking from experience. Sometimes, you know, people come, they want, you're supposed to pay a certain license. It's like, you have an alternative. You can do this and we reduce the licenses for you. Or you can do this and we cover you up.
So basically you want to see the loopholes of corruption?
Exactly, in terms of collecting revenues from the license. And as I said, the only way to do this is to to delink the two processes. You cannot have somebody being a prosecutor, the judge, and whatever at the same time. Of course, definitely whatever is supposed to be can be compromised.
Thank you very much. So do you have a parting shot? I believe we are done with the interview. Do you have a parting shot?
Yeah, I do. I believe that we are on the right track, and the process is not going to be easy. We have to brave ourselves for hard times ahead, but I believe that the team which has come on board is a very enthusiastic team, and we believe that we are going to succeed, and we in return make Professor succeed, because Professor is a governor of vision. He knows exactly what he wants for this county, and I think if we look at this choice of the cabinet he brought on board, each one of them has a skill which I think he requires to move this country to the level he requires.
Thank you. We appreciate your time. Thank you once more. And again, anytime we would love to come and ask you questions, we will appreciate if you are open the doors for us.
Welcome.
Thank you.